came out that there was going to be a festival, a hurricane, so they went home. The people from the city left on Saturday because they were going to get back to the city, and in fact, that was a smart thing for them to do. So we're hoping for better weather, and you know, it's hard to find a date for having a festival, but we really think that this can be fun for the people in the Catskills to come, fun for the people in Shandaken, and it'll also draw people from all over New York State. You know, I forgot one more thing and then I'll get off the stage. Belly dancers. We have a great belly dance troupe coming in from Oneonta, and that's another little aspect of steampunk. They're really big on belly dancing. Okay, so thank you for your attention, and I hope to see you on October 25th. Thanks.
Committee reports. Ambulance. Mr. Rich.
Good evening. September 2013 report for the Town of Shandaken Ambulance. Total calls received 39, mutual aid given 1 in the Town of Hollow. Mutual aid received 1 during multiple calls in the district. Although it's not our specific forte, at least while you're wearing this uniform, Fire Prevention Week runs from October 6th to Saturday, October 12th. The little known fact is that Fire Prevention Week was established to commemorate the Great Chicago Fire, the tragic 1871 conflagration that killed more than 250 people, left 100,000 homeless, destroyed more than 17,400 structures, and burned more than 2,000 acres. Fire departments nationwide take this week in particular to convey important fire safety messages, particularly to school-aged children and high-risk populations. This year's focus is on preventing kitchen fires, and the webpage for the National Fire Protection Association's website is www.nfpa.org. This provides a plethora of safety information for families, teachers, fire service alike, and children. Be sure to visit the website and check with our local fire departments for specific events that are to be scheduled. And in speaking with Chief Carr yesterday, the elementary school visit is going to be October the 18th. The time of year upon us is is upon us when ghouls and goblins take to the streets as well. As scary as these creatures may be, please take the necessary precautions on All Hallows Eve to ensure that you do not mistakenly bump one with your vehicle. Be sure to look for the ambulance's own goblin during the annual parade, or peruse the greater Shandaken area on Halloween. Mileage is listed, and thank you. Stay safe.
Police. Mr. Neal.
Chief McGrath couldn't come today. He had a meeting that he could not beg out of, so he ordered me to handle this. We handled 168 total calls for September. 4 school bus details, 5 abandoned 911s, 6 BTL complaints, 5 traffic hazards, 4 suspicious vehicles. We assisted on 19 medicals with the ambulance. We had 17 total calls for request for assistance, request patrol, 21 security checks, 9 harassment complaints, 8 animal complaints, a total of 9 accidents. That includes the personal injury, property damage, and accidents with an animal. 7 checked the welfares. We had 8 total arrests, 13 total charges, 4 violations, 3 misdemeanors, 1 felony. We issued 18 traffic tickets, 1 parking ticket. We cleared 42 DMV cases on court, brought in $3,045. We patrolled 8,051 miles. I included a new thing here. Hopefully it'll work out. The little minuses, pluses, and equals. That lets you know if there were increases or decreases in what we handled versus last month. Any questions?
Got a couple, George. Halfway down the front page on the left-hand side, it is 100 to 105, 8 founded, 8 unfounded.
Those are automated intrusion devices. Burglar alarms.
Okay. Founded and unfounded is
You'll have to ask the county on that one, I have no idea what
Okay.
they're doing. They put them in, we go.
And school bus detail is,
We follow a school bus to make sure no one's passing a school bus.
is it possible on this report, when you have violations of misdemeanors and felonies, to list what they are? To determine, just what the activity is?
I could do that, but I'm gonna be sitting at a desk for three hours doing that. I could do it.
Before it used to be one page, and just 3 now.
Okay.
If you can, it would be interesting to know what the activity is.
Okay, I'll run that past the chief. Anything else?
Thank you, George.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Police and water. Got it quicker. Rick, you gotta be quicker.
Don't worry, Rick will have his say on it.
I'm sorry.
It always does. Next meeting is the 16th, Wednesday the 16th, a week from this coming Wednesday, at 6:30 at the water plant. Major rebuild at the Smith Reservoir up on the mountain above the actual town reservoir on DEC land, supervised by DEC. At least 4 people at one of the times I was up there. So they may say they're short on people, but they had plenty that day. But it was done really well, and it looks great, and it works great. It's cleaned out, and the retaining wall was rebuilt totally, and the pipe which leads down from there to the town reservoir was cleaned out, and any leaks in it were repaired. So we're in much better shape with the supply from up on the hill. Rick's been real busy fixing leaks around town. I know we had at least 2, and Bob Stanley too, senior. And he'll have some other things to say momentarily, I'm sure. Thanks.
Thank you, Brad.
So just a plug for Joyce's website, the pictures of those at the end, out there is on the website.
Yeah.
As Al pointed out, this Smith Reservoir was fixed up there, and a 4-inch pipe. I had to send a couple fellows up, it was plugged up, and it was fixed, but out of that, some dirt was in there, went into the reservoir. I had the hydrant open to try to clean it out. I didn't get enough out of there. The filters got plugged again, and it created a problem where the, what do you call it? No, well, they were running wild too, but the chlorine pumps blew the tube blew. We had to replace that. Let me see, what else? We put in new pumps in the infiltration gallery that came in. Supposedly the electric company's going to pay for them. This is what we're hearing. And we put new foot valves in. Let me see, I talked about the filters. Something change again. This, when was it? Saturday morning, about 2 in the morning. The transformer up at by the tank blew. I don't know how it happened, but all of a sudden there was no signal to the filtration plant, so therefore the pumps shut off. So when I got in there at 6 in the morning there, the water was down. We had to manually turn them on. And the 2 pumps that we have in there that go out to the system have been overtaxed. They're 10 years old this year. And we were supposed to have that other pump in, but they didn't put the pump in because of we didn't get enough money at the time. But I urge the board that we need that 3rd pump, because we can have all the reservoirs and pumps or wells, but if we don't get this other pump and those 2 go and could go at the same time, we will not have any water in Phoenicia. And who's going to get the blame? Not the board, me. And I don't want to see that. But I urge you, I urge you I know it's going to cost money, Vinnie. I know you're very frugal, but there's no other way. We need that pump.
You find a way to get the money, Rick. If we don't have the money, it's
Well,
very difficult to buy something. You don't have
Vinnie,
the money.
you want to run out of water?
I'm saying, but I don't want to run out of money. We've run out of money.
There's no other way. We need the pump. What are we going to do?
I'm just saying, can you go down and buy it with nothing? You have to find ways to fund it, Rick.
Well, all right.
Maybe maybe the rest of the town board here has a better solution.
We've completed the work, Rick, we've completed the work in the pump house with those 2 pumps.
Yes.
And luckily you're gonna have those other old pumps that once refurbished.
Yes,
you'll be able to
I've
back
got
up.
them down to
So
Gallup.
that job's complete, the reservoir's complete. Again, we gotta knock these things off one at a time. You yourself came to my office going, where's all this money gonna come from? You recognize.
I
it.
know, but this is important. If
I
there's no water in town, the
all
town's
over.
packed every weekend. And, we can't, we have to get this pump in. And it's gonna be about $45,000 for this pump. It's not one of these little cheapos.
Again, for Alfred and Rick, tomorrow morning I have a meeting with FEMA representatives concerning the letters of intent that I submitted for the Phoenix Water District concerning the loop, as well as the relocation of that High Street pump station, as well as reclamation of the infiltration galleries.
I know you're doing
What?
what you can, but this is important.
No, this is important too. This is
Yeah,
$200 and something $1,000 monies we're
I
gonna.
know.
I'm just saying, if you have the time tomorrow, you can come in at 10 o'clock and we're probably gonna take a tour around the area to show them exactly what we're talking about.
Here at 10 o'clock?
Yeah, we'll be here at 10 o'clock, so if you could be here, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Pine Hill Water.
No.
Museum.
You really want to hear from me?
Go ahead. You always not. No, what, I do bottom. You're gonna say what you gotta say anyway.
Well, I'm going to say it anyway. The museum has been doing very good. Number of visits is up. We have people coming, people interested. We have a good woman working there now on weekends. But funds are ready to run out, and we need that museum open 52 weeks of the year. But all of the ground that we've gained in the last year and a half is going to be lost if we don't have that person. Now, I've been looking at your budget, and I see we got a whopping $98 increase in salaries for the museum this year, which is kudos to you guys. Very good. Parks and Recreation got a $2,000 increase this year. Recycling got an increase. Now you're paying somebody to sit out here and watch people sort garbage, $8,175 a year to sort garbage. You got a dog control bill for $13,000 a year for a dog warden and taking care of dogs out here. Well, I guess they're more important than the town museum. So if we don't get money to keep that open for 52 weeks, you might just as well turn around and close the museum. Apparently the town has no interest in it. So let me know what you want to do.
Recreation.
I was going to say a little more than usual, so I thought I'd come up here. Can you hear me? First of all, our meeting. Thing died when I got here.
So which is full.
Yeah, it's my fault.
Okay. Our meeting, which we had scheduled for our next meeting for Monday, October 21st, we are moving back, and we will be meeting next Monday, October 14th. It turned out it made more sense for the members to come at the end of the Columbus Day weekend than to put the whole thing off. So our next meeting is next Monday, here at Town Hall, 6:30. I wanted to talk a little bit about, and I know you've heard it in bits and pieces, but about what's happened in Smith Park in Pine Hill. Carol Chandler from Pine Hill is the park manager for that park, and it's really kind of exciting what they've done. First of all, the Pine Hill Fleischman's Rotary got a district grant, and they created 4 beautiful teak park benches, which they planted. If anybody wants to walk off of that bench, they really want it bad because it's in cement. But anyway, they built a raised flower bed, and then they got perennials that were donated by the Kingston Sunrise Rotary and the Phoenicia Rotary and Waddlers. The kids from the community center this summer took on responsibility for keeping the flowers watered. Inspired by all this, the Parks and Rec allocated some funds for refurbishing the basketball court. And then we saw a partnership, you know, in its best sense, really go to town. The Pine Hill Fleischman's Rotary provided the labor. The weeds were removed from the court, from the ground. Cracks were filled, sealer was added. The poles were straightened by the highway department. The old backboards were taken down. New backboards with help from Josh Construction were welded, and you know, the structure was created to put them in place, and they are really beautiful new backboards. And then the poles were painted. The last thing to be done is they will be painting some lines on the court itself, so you know where the foul line is and all that. We have tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, October 23rd at 5:30 p.m., a brief little gathering in the park. We intend to invite the community center and folks from Pine Hill and anybody else in town, and you guys in particular, to come for a little quick dedication ceremony, and the Rotary will be there in force. It seemed to me that this shows how a little bit of money and a lot of volunteers, and believe me, there are a lot of volunteer hours that went into this, can make a huge difference. On another note, I went on Friday to Local Government Day, sponsored by the CWC. This year was up in Stanford. And I went to a session on parks, and one particular figure that caught my eye. A lawyer was speaking about liability in the park, and it was all, you know, how it is when lawyers start talking about liabilities. But one of the things he said was the average lifespan for playground equipment is 8 to 15 years. I know most of our parks have equipment, and much of it in great shape and well-maintained, that's been there 30 years. I'd like us to start thinking, though, about, as we budget, about establishing a fund for replacing playground equipment, because it is terribly expensive, and it's something that we don't want to have to do wholesale. We want to sort of be ready for it. So I urge you to consider that. Finally, I want to repeat a plug. Mary Lou Stapleton is here, and she's been deeply involved in planning the event on Saturday, October 19th in Big Indian Park, Family Fun Festival. It's on the website, and they got a lot of neat stuff coming. Thank you.
With that, we'll go to public comments on resolutions. No comments on resolutions.
Well, I got. You knew it. You knew where I was going. All right, Rob, we met the other day. We had a little few words to say to each other about your, you know, I asked why you thought you're worthy of 16.7%. You told me you took a cut in pay. When was that?
2007.
Why did you do that?
We reduced the pay coming in so we could afford a salary raise for all the employees, as well as show a zero, we're trying to reduce the budget lines more. So the entire town board, first the elected officials took a freeze, and the entire town board as a whole reduced all their lines across the board.
Okay.
I was a
and
councilman at the time.
You were a councilman at the time then? So the town board members are going to take a 2% or whatever they usually get? You don't get nothing?
Well, we get, yes.
2% across the board, right?
Years, I don't know. Since I've been here.
Because you don't want to?
No, because that's the way the budget comes out.
Oh. So how do you figure,
Well, Teresa, again, the public hearing is next month on the budget figures. If you have questions, we don't mind answering, but if Do you have a specific comment or question you'd like to make?
No, I was just wondering why so much, you know, it's always been the 2%.
Again, I can tell you
That's
that,
all.
town supervisors throughout the county are paid considerably more than I am.
And they're part-time?
Are they part-time?
Yeah, are they
I
part-time?
don't know, I can't attest to what their hours are or what they do. I can just tell you that if anybody considers this a part-time job anymore, they're absolutely wrong. I am here every day in this office doing the job.
No, I agree with that. I agree.
And any of my secretaries can attest to that. The amount of paperwork that has come through my office, be it between the stream work that we had started, or projects we started prior to Irene, post-Irene, as well as all the paperwork that we are now being forced to follow through. Again, 2 resolutions tonight that we have on the water bill regs. These are things that the comptroller asked us when she was here with their visit to start implementing these programs. So we have triple the paperwork almost, if you will. I know the girls are struggling. I explained to one of the councilmen today, we are supposed to pass a resolution every time we send water bills out, which is well and good when we have a meeting on the 7th. When those bills are totaled up for September 30th and we have a meeting on October 1st, it's a lot of work for the girls in the office as well to try to scramble to catch up with stuff. Plus, we have to get it out to the public, have to get it to Joyce with the correct figures, all this stuff. I mean, that's one minute little thing. Like we set in place triple checks and quadruple checks for the payroll systems and everything. We're gonna have a lot more work to do. I just feel that I've taken on a lot more work than was considered before. I think that most of the people in this town, and they'll attest to it, the department heads included, when they have a question, they come to me for it. I do confer with the town board most times. Most times I know it right off the bat what's going on. Now that I've been here 4 years, plus the 4 years as a councilman, it was a very good learning curve. If I decide in 2 years, again, know that if I set it at that, in 2 years, if I decide that I don't want to run again, that's the salary, it's 35. If the board at that time wants to reduce, they can reduce it back. The simple fact of the matter is that you have elected officials that come in at the previous elected's salary accruements. Again, we went through this a number of years ago where I believe Keith Johnson came in following Dick Merwin, and somebody bumped him down and then we had to bump it back up because it wasn't correct. And I can just tell you that I'm doing a lot more work. It is a full-time job. A number of the meetings, actually I'm befuddled as to why I didn't have on my calendar the local government days, because I usually attend that. I do know I was in the office all day. I missed last Tuesday to pick up my in-laws down in the airport. Took us 2 days to catch up on the phone calls that came in on that Tuesday. Random day, but just everything started in. So I can hand it off to the board if they want to discuss what the amount of work that's being handled by the offices. Again, we try to do our best. I try to fight for the employees. I give them the raises when we can. I give them benefit of the doubt, benefits on, excuses, but
The other thing is, Bel Air's still having their Oktoberfest too this weekend.
yeah, which kind of befuddled myself and Carol LeBurn, because as you know, we've had several meetings up there with Alex, and originally they had canceled. Then they said they were going to replace it with the Ski Timberfest. Then they said they would do an Oktoberfest, but it was going to be an activity-based event. It was unbeknownst to us this week when the advertisement came out and said looking for craft vendors. Because back in April, and I can probably find the article where it's quoted from Bel Air representatives saying all our vendors are going to Wyndham, we're losing our vendors, which apparently is not the case because a number of those vendors are going to be down at the Emerson this weekend. Yes, Bel Air is going to have the Skyride, there's going to be music, and everybody's welcome to go up there, but it's not the same as the Fall Festival was in the past. Certainly know that people habitually are going to go up there just for the view,
Yeah.
because it's gorgeous, and
The leaves are.
not taken away from
The
Bel
leaves
Air.
are.
Just, it's not the same.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
I know that the budget hearing is next month, but in line with some of these comments, I do think that shooting for a 0% increase is where we should be. And if there are savings that we have in some departments, and therefore you want to try to make up for some salaries that haven't been increased over time, makes sense to me. But I think aiming for a 0% increase in the overall budget is really where we should be. And I wonder if in some of the districts, we could maybe have some savings. The lighting districts in particular, if we can be replacing incandescents with LEDs, can we put in some solar? can we look at maybe all those district budgets and see if we can save some money? Do we have a capital fund in the in the Phoenicia Water District that's at least moving towards getting that pump in a few years if we can't get it this year? So I'd like to see that kind of planning go in, and it does feel a little bit like if we wait until the public hearing on the budget that everything's set in stone. So if I can put those comments out tonight and have them be useful, that's my intent.
Let me try to go through each one. Yes, we always try to go through some, and we try to minimize it, but again, we have the opportunity at this time to do this, to keep it under 1%. Again, I'll remind people that just a few years ago, we were going through where we had 12% increases, 7% increases, 5% increases in taxes. I mean, this was a standard here. We had salaries that were being increased by 4 or 5% annually, whether it be contractual or not contractual. Those days are long gone. Secondly, with the incandescent bulbs, with the lighting districts, absolutely we can investigate this, but I vaguely remember this question coming up before, and I believe NYSEG will charge you additional fees to do the replacement, and then from there on out, you're absolutely responsible for those lamps. So it was one of those catches that NYSEG puts in there to say, well, let's just keep it as is. As far as the lighting districts go, we do have a fund balance that's there, and it has grown over a period of previous years, and that's why last year we started this where we added the fund balance. We started depleting that fund balance because it was so high in each of the lighting districts. But now we have to do it over a 5-year span. Again, we could have taken the entire fund balance and probably zeroed out the lighting districts last year. But then what happens is you have to go back up to the full tax value the following year, which would have increased your tax rate to 100% reading on the